So I'm gonna go check the form real fast and add anybody who recently signed up. I did it like 40 minutes ago, so cool.
What did you have for dinner, Greg?
I had a vegetarian, like a lentil chickpea thing. Like a stew, I guess a stew, yeah. That's good.
Ali has been making chickpea brownies.
Oh yeah, nice. It's good for that.
Pretty it's really nice. Like, it doesn't taste that much different than a brownie, but significantly healthier. So
nice.
All right, welcome everyone. Greg and Andre. Sorry, let me add you guys as hosts real fast.
I
Nice.
think
All
you
right.
also turned off everyone's cameras. Maybe check that just in case.
Yeah. I think we did that last time. Greg, you want to see if you can turn back on your mic/camera? I didn't make him a host like I thought I did. Cool. Well, welcome everyone. We'll get started in just a few minutes, just doing a little setup, and then yeah, we'll get going.
I'm back.
Nice.
Hey guys, good to see everyone. Hey Fred, thanks for joining us again. I've got some responses to your emails. I really appreciate your feedback. Josh as well. Thanks for joining. Who else do we have? Ryan, good to see you again. Francesco. Nice. Guys, the previous session recordings are up on the forum on our discourse, okay? I did a post today.
Nice. Yeah. Greg tends to do that. All right, sweet. Well, let's get started. Alrighty. So yeah, build session number 3. If you haven't seen session 1 and 2, I'll try to give a little bit of context. Yeah. All right. So overall, we're building a platform for micro courses, meaning like a little 5-minute course. We're not going to focus so much on the like course content. The actual course content is going to be like a YouTube video and some text. But we're going to focus on kind of all the other stuff. User signups as an admin, be able to create courses. We're going to send a welcome email today. We're going to build out. So this actually will be a good little spot to go through. All right. So in part 1 and 2, we built the ability for an admin to log in, and they can go to an admin page where they can create and manage their courses. And then we built our index page, shows the list of courses that the admin's added. On a course details page, we built the course details page, so I can click on a course. I'll give a quick demo when we get to the actual app, but we can go through the whole purchase flow with Stripe. We set up a Stripe webhook, and then we made a little user dashboard where they can see the courses that they've purchased. So why don't we actually let's go get into the app. So I will go over and share my screen. Sweet. All right, so this is where we left off last time. And again, actually, why don't I just pop this out and I'll share this tab and we'll go through it. All right, so there's from a user's perspective, there's some courses I've added. I can click, like the details of a course, shows me the little description and the price. I can click buy now. And assuming this all still works, we're just using like a test Stripe account. I will buy with my fake credit card real fast. Sorry, nothing. Not very fun to watch me fill out a form. And then processing takes us back to a payment successful page, and then I should be able to go to my dashboard and see the courses that I've purchased. All right, so the first thing that we want to do, or we need to do, is we need to build like a, switch back over into Raydian now. One of the first things we need to do is we need to build like a, what do I call it? Like a way to a course player page. So like if I go to, let me log in as our test user. And then if I go to the dashboard page, we can see the courses that I've purchased. But what we need is the ability to click view course and then be able to actually go to a page and yeah, Greg and Andre, as questions come in, I can see Josh just asked a question, but yeah, let me know if I need to stop and I'll
No problem. Yeah. So we're building a course details page, right?
yeah, so we're building a course details page, which is the only reason I'm being a little bit more detailed is because we have like a public facing course page that when the user views before they've purchased. So we need like a private one that the user can see only after they've actually purchased a course and actually like shows the course content. So let me clear my chat and then I'm going to open my to-do list. Again, we've been working through this to-do list and sweet. So build course details and purchase. Okay, so this to-do we did last time, so I'll mark that as complete. Develop the user dashboard. Also complete. Cool. So this is the task we need to work on next. It says develop a dynamic protected route at dashboard/courses/course ID. This page will display the private content for a specific course. Okay, that to-do looks good. Again, these were generated when I started my app. Our planner agent went and generated the list of these to-dos for me, but these are really a home for you building your app to keep track of what you're building. So like a lot of times this one looks good, but a lot of times I'll go add some more stuff, or if I want a little bit more content, like I'll go and put my spin on what this should be, or if I'm opinionated about how I want the design to look. So actually one thing I'm going to do is I actually don't want this to be at like a dashboard page at /dashboard. I think we'll have dashboard. And then I kind of want to just have a, trying to think of a good word for it. We already have a courses/course ID route. So maybe I'll call this one like player or something. That kind of like shows the course content player / then the course ID. So again, I think the rest of this still makes sense. And then I'm just going to go ahead and click build task. So yeah, so while that's running, we can kind of just watch it run, but that's going to go create the page that I asked for. It's going to hopefully build it all, and then we'll go see if we can, yeah, we'll go test it, make any changes we need to make. One change that I probably should have added to that to do, but we can do it after the fact, is I want to update these buttons on this dashboard to take me to that page after it's done. So we can do that after this is done.
So Riley, Fred
Yeah.
would like to verbally ask a question about the task list. I guess the to-do modal. Do you mind unmuting Fred?
Yeah, we're small enough today. Why don't I just go and turn off these little host controls? I think that fixed it. Fred, can you unmute yourself now?
Yes, I can.
Nice.
Thanks. And if this is derailing things, please feel free to skip this and go
Oh
on.
no, we're here for you guys. So ask away.
Okay. So the to-do button down in the far left corner, if you click on that and you open the to-dos up here, this is a list of tasks.
Yep.
However, when I was playing around, and I have a screen capture. I think I might have captured somewhere, but there's at one point in the chat, I saw the chat said, 4 tasks completed in the chat, like near the bottom of the chat. And it was an accordion that I could open up and I could see the tasks that the chat had completed. If you want, I don't know if I can paste the screen capture in here, but I can send it to Greg.
Yeah, I think
my question here's what my question is. It was a different task list than the one that's showing here. So there was 2 things at the same time that said task list. One of them was this dialogue, and one of them appeared at the bottom of the chat. And it was confusing to me. Why are there 2 different task lists and they don't match each other? Like, what was the one that was being shown at the bottom of the task? At the bottom of the chat. That was what the AI was doing, but not what I have to do.
Yeah. So great question. We probably need to be. You are right. We are using some mixed verbiage here, and I'm noticing probably the worst offender is this build task button. That probably should say build to do. So you are right. That's confusing. We'll fix that and make sure that it's clear. So really what you have is to-dos, which are this to-do list we're looking at here. And then you have your Raydian agent when it is working on a bigger feature, it has the ability to make its own task list just for the agent to work on. And so it'll, like, if you ask it to do some, like, edit this page, rename this table in my database, all in one thing, like all in one message, it just helps the AI keep track of what it needs to do and create better outcomes. And so we show you that list of the things that the agent's working on while it's executing on them.
Maybe,
so it kind of will just go through.
Maybe it might be an idea to say, rather than tasks, titling that tasks, if you title it agent tasks, then that might make it clearer for the user to see that that's the thing. Those are things that the agent is working on rather than the things that the user has to work on.
Yeah. And so, on those agent tasks, most of the time, again, if you see an issue where this doesn't happen, those should get fully cleared out by the time the agent's done. So you'll see it kind of working, and we tell you, like, it's working on task 2, working on task 3, and you can open it up and see what it's working on.
Yep.
And then by the time it's done, it will have gone through its full task list, made all those changes, and then kind of give you a summary of.
Cool. And thank you for answering my question. And yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's a great question. I can see that'd be confusing. All right, so it made this page for us. But again, we did this last time, which when we have URLs that are dynamic, again, they're, if you see a page name that's like prefixed part of it with this little $, then that means that part of the URL would be dynamic. So when our users go to this page, what they're going to go to is / whatever your domain is, /player/ and then in this case, the ID of the course. And so if we just click on this page, Raydian doesn't know which ID to use. So we're going to go to the backend tab. We're going to find a course. We'll just do learn the basics of Python, go back to our canvas, and I can enter in a default value here. And now if I reload, Raydian should be able to use that course ID for content. Okay, cool. So there's some.
I think we lost him for a sec.
Okay, Andre, we still have you. Sure, he'll be back soon. Does anyone have any other questions about what we've done so far? At the bottom of the chat, we can see a complete button. There's been some confusion around who marks tasks or to-dos as complete. We do after testing the feature. So that would be part of the developer process. The agent builds it, the user tests it, and the user marks it as complete. And we've now added that to below the chat, which you can see.
Yeah, so you'll see the experience that you'll see that's different from last time we spoke is when you click off or kick off a to-do, it will work on the to-do, and at the end, it will say pending to-do and ask you if you're ready to mark it as complete. So that's kind of the flow that you can think about as you're building.
Yeah. And you can go like, sorry, I lost my Wi-Fi for a bit, but now I'm back. Yeah, and you can leave this flow. Like if I were just to send another message here, we're not going to keep prompting you to like mark this to do as complete all the time. So we kind of are trying to find the balance between giving people the right, sorry if this was already said, but we want to give people the right like structure if they want it. But if someone is more advanced, they know what they're doing, they want to go do whatever they want, like we're not forcing them to use this structure and this like process all the time. So we've been trying to, and I don't know if it's perfect yet, but we've been trying to, can you guys still hear me? I keep getting a ding that my Wi-Fi is going out. So
You're good. I can hear you.
all right, nice. Cool. All right, so yeah, I was getting back into the app. It's kind of funny that this is the video that AI chose. But yeah, so let's just like edit some of the styling here on this card. I don't really like the spacing, so I'm just going to make this 0. That looks a little bit better. Trying to think if there's anything else that I would change here. I probably don't need, I guess let's test it and see if this works. All right, cool. That takes me back to the dashboard. And then if I go back to my player page, probably don't need 2 back to dashboard buttons. So I'm just going to come select this, and then I can come here and just delete it. Then yeah, I think that looks okay for the first sort of initial view. There's probably some other stuff I would change. Greg, Andre, anything you think I should try and show here? I guess one thing we're missing is maybe like the course title. So maybe I should come here and say, can this say the title of the course instead? Let's see if the AI can figure that out for us. Nice. So that worked pretty well. Sweet. And then I think the other thing that we mentioned was I need to go back to the dashboard page, and on these buttons, let's just see how this looks. We say we want this button to take us, see if this works, to the okay. So now let's see if this works. Cool. Sweet. So I think that was probably step 1. That seems to work well. So let's go on to the second thing we want to do today. Unless there's any more questions, happy to like dig deeper into what we just did if someone has an immediate question. Josh, I can't, I see you asked a question, but I can't, let me go look what it was. Okay, yeah, or sorry, go ahead, Andre, if you want to answer it, take it.
Sure. Basically, the built with Raydian watermark, as soon as you upgrade your app, that watermark is taken off. Does that answer your question, Josh? Perfect. You can carry on, Riley.
Nice. All right, so mark that one as complete. And then I think the next thing I wanted to do was something that wasn't actually really in our to-do list. So I could keep using the to-do list, but let's just go to our backend tab. What I want to build now is a workflow to send a welcome email. And then we'll come to our front end and maybe we'll make a to-do list to have our app send it. But I kind of wanted to go through, we've been using the to-do list in these videos, so I thought we'd kind of go outside of it for a bit. Sweet. unless Andre or Greg, you think that's not very helpful. If you want me to sort of stay on the happy path, happy to just make a to do and go that way.
I think we've demonstrated how the developer process that we think is useful and how we
Yeah.
are different. But as you said earlier, Riley, we don't necessarily force you into this particular process, which is a very good process, we feel. And if you guys have a bit of experience, you can jump around and do your own thing. So you can just jump straight into the chat from here. You can go to the backend tab. And next, I think you're going to be working on email. Is that right? Right.
Yep.
Maybe let's try using the to-dos. Like you know how you are wanting to implement this feature, but maybe let's try use the to-do feature a little bit to, if someone just knows what they want it to do, but not necessarily how, let's maybe leverage a little bit of that to creating a to-do without necessarily knowing the solution.
Sure.
So, for
So
example,
I could come here and say, I want to send a welcome email to my users when they sign up. I already have which I'll share my screen in a bit. I have gone beforehand. I set up a Loops account. I followed their flow. I made a welcome email that I wanted to use. I already have the welcome email in my Loops account. Sweet. So let's see what's saying it wants to do. Okay, so it's saying your Loops email template ID. What's the template ID in Loops for the welcome email? Which I actually do have. I'm going to go copy this in another tab. I've got my transactional ID. Well, actually, why don't I just paste? I'll just paste this is what, like if you go to the transactional email and you, in Loops and you click review, they give you a little payload that you can use. So I'm just going to copy it and paste it in. Here is the payload. Oops. Payload from Loops. So again, that's just directly copy and pasted that from my Loops account. Cool. So nice. So it looks like it made this little to-do for me. Send welcome email on sign up. And let's see if it does what I want. Create a backend workflow that sends a welcome email via Loops. User ID. Okay, that seems to be right. So why don't we just keep going? I'm going to create a new. Did I click it? I'm going to create a new chat. It'll work. Let me try refreshing. We've been having Wi-Fi. I was nervous about this call. We've been having Wi-Fi issues all day. So hopefully, all right, there we go. Sweet. And then we're just going to click build task. So we'll go look at this backend workflow after it's done. But yeah, this is a little bit bigger of a task. So
Riley, Josh has a question about the Raydian planner. Can you see it?
Yeah. No, let me go look. Yeah. So you can do it either way. So the Raydian planner, I'll just open it up. The Raydian planner has context of the to-do you're looking at. So I could say if you're looking at a to-do, I could say explain this to me or something. It'll know that you're looking at that specific to-do and get the context there. But you can also just use it to, we've realized that this is a bit confusing. It looks like this is always only tied to this item. So we're working on potential different layouts that may make it a little bit more obvious. yeah, the idea is you can chat, it can control your whole to-do list. It can make new to-dos, mark other ones incomplete, see them all. Hopefully that answers your question. It's not just tied to the current one. It can kind of do whatever. And if you want to, like, if it made this and you wanted to make some changes, you could keep chatting with your planner and have it iterate on this plan for this specific to do. So cool. All right, so that finished up. So it told me it made a bunch of stuff. So let's go to my backend tab and go to my workflows, and I can see. All right, so I want to point out two things. So first is I see I have a send welcome email. And this is a bit new that you guys may not have seen. So our welcome emails, our backend workflows, how they are stored, like what is written is code. But again, this is Raydian. We've tried initially to just show you what the code was and try to give you ways to explain it, but we got the feedback that wasn't very helpful. So now our default view is this sort of visualization of the workflow. If you want to still view the code, it's right there. You can edit it, do everything you need. But I think most of the time, you'll just be here in this view. So the first thing shows you your inputs. So it says this takes a user ID. And then, I'm not going to take the time to go through and read every single little card, but you can follow the flow. All right, it's going to validate the user ID. I can click this little toggle and it'll show me some, like, the values in the code that's actually being used. So if I'm trying to match up like what this step is versus where it's being used in my code, I could go look for the word body in my code and kind of match it up. Okay, going to retrieve the user from the database, extract the first name, verify the loops API key, send a welcome email. Okay, so one of them, you can see this step, verify loops API key. API keys are really important. They're kind of like, if you haven't worked with an API before, API keys are like a master password to whatever service you're using. So in this case, anyone with my loops API key could send emails from my account, which is not what so we want to make them secure. So we have a dedicated place to store secret keys, and your workflows know how to use them. And you can see that this little message down here is telling me that an agent or somewhere in my app, we've created the secret key that I need to go enter. So I can just click, this enter values. I can see that I've got a loops API key that I need to enter, and I'll click edit. And yeah, luckily this is just like a test loops account. So I'm going to go over into my loops account. I'm going to copy an API key, and I'm just going to paste those in. I'll refresh it after this call, so won't be very helpful if you just do it. All right, so then back to the workflow, and then let's go to our send welcome email. Let's test this. So before I even try to go test it in my app, we can just test it right here. I'm going to go to my database and grab a user ID. So let's do it for this guy right here. Go over to my workflows. And then step one is I'll say fill with AI. This is going to set up the JSON payload that will need to be sent. And then I'm going to replace this ID with the ID that I just copied. And let's click test. All right. Unfortunately, I actually think that is a bug with this little testing workflow that I'm kind of surprised to see. So, but maybe not. Let's go test it on the front end, and we'll see if I can get a welcome email. And if not, then we'll go and debug, because maybe there is an issue back there. So apologies for that. Curse of doing this live, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to sign up for a new account and say Riley test user. Just going to use a little my email that I can actually get, enter a password, click create account. Cool. And yeah, you guys can't see my email, but I did just get a welcome email. We'll send so nice. That worked. Cool. So that flow is complete. So the next step is yeah, I can come back to our chat here and mark it as complete. Is there anything else? I know I kind of went through that quick and I didn't actually get to show you the final result of getting a welcome email, but we can see, you know, we can see the sign up worked. So here was Riley test user that I just signed up as. Anything else? If I reload this little like need to enter API key message to go away. Great.
Yeah, Riley, what
anything I should double tap on? Yeah, Greg, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, why don't we go back to the workflow, spend some time there.
Let's do it.
And just, yeah, let's just talk through how we actually built this thing, because you know, I'm pretty proud of what we've done here. Sure. So if we toggle across to the code, we'll be able to make some correlations between these steps. And just to reiterate that this is a, you know, the code is generated by the AI agent. So a traditional node visualizer or traditional step no code builder would start with a user dragging a node onto the canvas and then that creating the code. What's happened here is in reverse. The code has been created and now we have to create a visualization on top of the code file to break it into particular steps to then just help a user be able to visualize the particular steps. And for me, the one thing I'm pretty excited about is clicking around in some of my backend workflows. I'm definitely like learning some new things. A lot of the things that coming from the no code world, I didn't fully implement myself, like error checking and sort of authentication steps and little pieces like that. So let's see how these two are correlated.
Yeah, so yeah, like Greg said, this seems pretty intimidating, I would guess, if you're not like used to looking at code. And then here we've got a, I mean, Greg, feel free to keep going, I guess. You were kind of leading the charge if you want to.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the first thing we did is, you can see at the very top, it says send welcome email. And then we've actually explained what this entire backend workflow does in the shortest paragraph we can. And I think for the most part, that will probably satisfy a lot of questions people have. Initially, it's a code file. Now we're just telling you in a paragraph. We know that isn't 100% what you need. So we've broken out into nodes, and we've also got values that are being fed into these inputs and values that are being returned and all the logic in between. And as you become more experienced, you'll begin to see certain patterns that are very similar between how these backend workflows are created.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's like one of the nice things that I feel like people are if you come from the no code world, people are very skeptical that like this just works. And so we've tried to not prove it to you, but like, although like we just, as we've been building in Raydian, we found that we really don't, you're so used to thinking you have to like tinker and set all this stuff up. And most like 95% of the time, probably even higher, things just work the first time. Like the AI is actually really, really good at doing workflows like these. If there are places that I do need to edit, we've tried to make that easier as well. Like let's say I actually change my template ID. I come back, I could use my, I could just ask the chat, it'd probably do it well. But if I can kind of know that like, okay, I've actually changed my template ID in loops, or I've changed the arguments or whatever, I can just like select on this card. And then it adds it as context to my conversation. And then I can chat with my agent and it'll have a little bit more context on like that specific step if you want to be a little bit more targeted in and how this should be edited. So yeah, we've appreciated the feedback. A lot of people have told us that they felt like this sort of backend workflow view where we just kind of showed you the code didn't feel like Raydian. Like it felt like we could do something better. And yeah, so far we think this is an improvement for sure on just like helping you understand what this workflow does without needing to be intimidated by all those curly braces and brackets and everything.
Yeah, and I think next we're going to be working on improving testing, just making it a bit user friendly.
Yeah.
So you saw that one of the first things Riley did was he went to test the workflow. We've got a few bugs to fix, but that would also be part of this development process that we're trying to engage users with, right? So we've got it like on lockdown in the chat tab, and now in the backend tab, we also want to instill this process. You build the workflow, you feed it some test inputs, you run the test, you get a good result. It's probably going to work. And if you don't, well, then you can go back to the chat and hopefully resolve it in the chat.
Yeah. Cool. Well, great. I mean, we've now gone through most. I think we've checked both those boxes of what we wanted to get done today. So happy to dig into other pieces of the product or spend a little bit more time doing Q&A. Any other questions we didn't have a chance getting into? Happy to. We can, for the sake of this call, we could start doing some iterations. We could see what it'd be like if we built this a different way. Any other?
Yeah, I have an idea.
Let's do it.
I think there have been a few questions on the forum trying to just understand the different environments, right? So you have the editor view, and then you have a preview button, and then you have a testing branch. So talk through, I think, and in the no-code world, it's a bit different. So talk through the thought process there.
Yeah, sure. So again, one of the things I'm gonna take a step back real fast, and I'll answer that question, Greg. Our North Star at Raydian is helping people actually ship real products, and like that's really what we care about. And so when we've developed Raydian, we're thinking through not just what the tools people need when they're developing their app before they have users, but also like what do you actually need, the tools you need after you have users to be able to keep iterating, respond to user requests, like fix bugs, all of those things that actually happen when you really deploy an app. And so part of that, and again, these are common from the developer world, and we've tried to build corollaries into the Raydian world that are hopefully easy to use. So let's go to my Canvas tab. All right, so the first URL you're going to interact with is the URL that's showing up here, or I can click this button to pop it out, and you guys can't see my URL bar, but that's a URL that has like the ID of your branch, and then it says preview.radian.dev in it. So this URL is going to always, every time you reload the page, it is going to be 100% up to date with what's currently the work you're doing in your branch. So this is the URL you look at when you are actively developing and you are you're making changes, you're testing features, I'm in the development workflow. Preview is the URL that you'll be using most of the time. But then as you're developing, especially if you're developing for a client or you're developing for a team or you're working as a team, you're going to reach a point where you're like, all right, this app works and I'm ready to send it to someone. You kind of want to have almost like a checkpoint, or you want to be able to test your app like in the real flow as if it was really deployed. And so we've created these, you can kind of do a testing deploy of your branch and by just clicking this update testing URL. So this is going to take like all the code that currently sits in your app. It's going to go and deploy it to a URL, and then that URL will stay consistent until you are ready, until you click this button again, and then it'll get updated from your app. So like a common workflow is, all right, say you've deployed your app and you're working on some new feature, or say you're an agency and you're working on a new feature for your client. They need to be able to, your client needs to be able to test this feature, but it's like can't go to be deployed live yet because it's not ready for the users yet. So you'll create a branch, build the feature, you'll create this testing URL, and then you've got a URL you can send your client to actually, like they can test it as if it's their live app, but then you don't actually need to deploy it to their end users until they've given their feedback. Maybe you've got some other iteration you want to go on. And so this Yeah, so this URL is going to be like, will end in like apps.radian.dev, and you'll see it'll have like the ID of your app and then dash whatever the name of your branch was. So in my case, it has a little like -dev on it. And again, that's like when you go to do like a real deploy here, this testing URL is exactly the same exact infrastructure, same exact speed, which is, I guess, worth calling out. This preview URL that you're seeing in the canvas, it is going to be because we have to make it always live and like always go and fetch the latest code every time it runs. It's actually slower than what your app will be when you deploy it. So it's worth keeping in mind. We've tried to remove like all the quirks and like really any noticeable difference, but this preview URL is going to act a little bit differently. Mostly just it'll be a little bit slower than the deployed version. And then yeah, the final URL you'll have is this one right here that you guys can see on the screen. When you upgrade your project and actually deploy it, this is like your production URL you'll send users, or most of the time you'll go and connect your own domain and they'll kind of be one and the same. So that answer your question? Yeah, I guess wasn't really your question, Greg, but happy to go in more if you think I missed any.
No, that's good. That's good. So the preview URL is for us. We're developing, our app is updating. We want to see it, out of the editor. Testing URL is basically like staging, right? It's just before you can send a dedicated URL to a client, but that is a particular version in that particular time. It's not like the latest code. And then after that, you deploy your app, your custom app. Yeah. So it's like this intermediate URL that's not deployed to main, and that your clients can review the work, or you can look at your own work as your users would.
Yeah. And it's worth, the other thing I'll call out just related to that topic is, if you haven't upgraded your app yet, you probably haven't used multiple branches, because on the free plan, we just kind of give you your dev branch. But once you've upgraded, we actually let you create multiple branches. Again, trying to solve like, what do people actually need when they've deployed? Before you have users, you can just like deploy willy-nilly and like, it doesn't really matter because no one's using your products. So you can break stuff. But when you have users, you got to be really careful about that. Evident from this call, we've got to be better about that at Raydian. But the idea being that, all right, so I've deployed my app, I've got users, I'm working on some feature. I'd create a branch specific to that feature, and I can start, like, sometimes working on a feature requires you to like re-architect a whole bunch of stuff, and your app can almost be like in this broken state before it's done. So let's say you're halfway through this feature, a few pages in your app are broken, you're gonna like put it all back together. But then you get a message from a user and like there's a really, really important bug that you need to fix. So if you only had your dev and your main branch, you would have to like go and finish this entire feature before you get this bug out. With Raydian, I can just go and make a new branch. Making a new branch always clones from your like main branch. So like create a branch from main, that's why I put it there. I can just go make a new branch, say, call it bug fixes, go and fix that bug really fast, and then deploy that to main. And my users get that bug fix before I'm actually ready to deploy this other big feature I was working on in another branch. And then after that process, Raydian has a way of bringing all those changes back in so everything stays in sync and you don't like overwrite changes and stuff. But so yeah, so that's kind of the full flow. These URLs are tied to the specific branches you're working on, and yeah, when you're just starting out, you probably won't use multiple branches. You may not even use the dev branch, or I guess you'll use the dev branch because you can't deploy yet. But once you actually deploy and have users, they become not just helpful, but like essential. It's really, really hard to build an app without these features.